Hello, hello, and welcome in, everybody. Welcome on in. Welcome in. It is the weekend. We are here. We made it. We made it. Welcome on in, everybody. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Saturday. If it's like overcast where you're at and you're inside stuck like I am because it's like crappy weather, then you can come and hang out with me. Come hang out with me. We're going to go over some Madalina Cojocari stuff. So I saw that Jan was in here. Cheryl was at the hospital not feeling good. And we have Ashley here. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, Jan. Hey, Ashley again. Hey, Panda. Welcome in, everybody. Better to do like day lives. Hey, Sailor George. I kind of like the day lives. Hey, Catherine. I like them both. I don't mind. I like night lives, but then again, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like really tired usually. So, we stay up so late doing the night lives, and then I don't go to bed till like a little bit later because I can't just, go straight to bed. I try to do that and it doesn't work. Doesn't work out very well. So let me just grab my notes. Tonight we're going to go over, I think, a newer case to the channel. We haven't covered it before, and I've been wanting to cover it. And I think we're going to go over Noah Pressgrove's. It's his case as of right now. It's not an active an investigation, but it should be because this kid definitely was unalived. But I think that it's going to be a really good case to go over and cover with you guys. And Nancy Grace actually just came out with a episode on it. So I was like, well, look at that. Can't beat that. Yeah, Ashley, I've been really wanting to do Noah's case on the channel. And I've been like pushing it back kind of because, like we've just been doing all the kinds of other cases. And today I was like, let me go see what Nancy's been up to. And then I saw that she did Noah's case and I was like, is this a sign or is this a sign to go ahead and do it? Because the more I look into it, the more I go into this rabbit hole. I've been sitting in the office for like an hour and a half now, like looking at stuff for his case. So that'll be, I think, a good one to cover. It's very like what is going on. The kid went to a party and left with nothing but two mismatched shoes on, and he's found dead on the side of the road with two shoes that aren't even his. So it's a very, very, very insane case. Yeah. So if you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Tanya or TitaniumBuilt, and welcome to the channel. Everybody that's new, if you're not new, welcome back. If you're watching on a replay, #replay. That way I know. But we'll go ahead. We'll go over to, actually, I want to show you Madalina's picture again first and go over her picture. I'm going to make it a little larger so we can all see it. But this is her missing person flyer for Madalina Cojocari. She went missing November officially in my mind. She was last seen on November 21st, but technically they're saying November 23rd. But she was last seen on her school bus camera, getting off her school bus on camera on November 21st. Her date of birth is April 11th, 2011. She has brown hair, brown eyes. She's 4'10". She's 90 pounds, and she's beautiful. She's beautiful. She was last seen in her home in Cornelius, North Carolina on the evening of November 23rd, and she has not been seen since. She was seen by her mother and her stepfather before she went to bed that night. She was reported missing from school on December 15th, and she was last seen wearing jeans, pink and purple, white Adidas shoes, and a white t-shirt and jacket. And the more and more I think of that, I don't like that. Like, if you saw your daughter the night before she went to bed, she surely wouldn't be wearing jeans, tennis shoes, a t-shirt, and a jacket. None of those things other than the t-shirt. It's crazy to me. If you have any information concerning the whereabouts of Madalina Cojocari, please contact the Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-7773. And it says you may also contact your local FBI office. So the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip at online at tips.fbi.gov. So this is the Charlotte, field office. So she's been missing like for a year and a half now. It's been a while. We need to really find her and bring her home. Yeah, that's what she was wearing on the bus. That's probably why they put her in that, I'm assuming. But she should have probably been wearing something. Yeah, she should have probably said she was wearing pajamas or something like that, I would assume. But maybe they weren't taking mom's word for it at the same time, because she did say that there were some clothes that were missing. So I found this 10-minute clip, and it's kind of going to go over everything that we saw on the last live. But basically, we were watching Chris Paul Mettler's trial, and we are on day 3 of his testimony. On the last live, he talked about his relationship with Madalina's mom, Diana Cojocari. He explained how they had an arranged marriage. He met her online on a dating website and visited her a couple times over in Moldova before she made the trip to the US to marry him. So he also talked about how she became very faith-based, and she started doing like rituals with different, she used like knives in one of them, and she would started to include Christopher and Madalina in those rituals that she was performing. So that's what he was talking about when he was on the stand when we last heard from him. I'm going to show you guys this clip here because this kind of like puts everything back together. That way we'll kind of, if you were here yesterday, it'll make more sense. And if you weren't here yesterday, it'll make a little bit of sense for you guys. But basically, Chris Paul Mettler is on trial for failure to report Madalina Cojocari missing. His wife, Madalina's mother, Diana, has been released from jail because she pled guilty and she already served the time to get out. Now, what's next? We don't know. They're either going to send her back to Moldova, and that's the end of that. We'll never find out what happened to Madalina, or they're going to find something, or they have something to rearrest her before she gets on a plane and goes back to Moldova. He was, oh no. It's making you watch an ad. I hate when it does that. I don't even turn my ad. Well, I do turn them on, but I don't turn them like on like the medium or the high. I have them on the lowest frequency. That's crazy. Stop doing that to them. Stop doing that to them, people. Let them get in here first. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button. And if you do appreciate the content tonight, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you.
The defendant in the missing stepdaughter trial is going to return to the stand for day 2 of direct examination in our next hour here. On Tuesday, Christopher Palmatier took the stand in his own defense. He's on trial for not reporting his 11-year-old stepdaughter, Madalina Cojocari, missing back in 2022. The 62-year-old stated he didn't harm her, nor does he know where she is. But the defendant did describe spiritual activities performed by his wife, Diana Cojocari, prior to her daughter's disappearance.
There were certain rituals that she would do. She always said she was fighting demons, and I know this, the example is from Elizabeth Clare Prophet, because I watched it. They would take a sharp knife and they would cut the imaginary strings that demons had around you.
What do we think of the credibility of this defendant, Christopher Palmatier? Here to discuss it, Josh Schiffer, Jack Rice, and look at we brought in Franz. So this truly is a panel of experts. Franz Borkhardt is with us. Franz, to you first. What'd you think of the defendant on the stand? And we talked about it yesterday. We're like, I bet he blames the wife, the mom. Sure enough, he throws that little doozy out to the jurors that she was into some weird spiritual stuff. Thoughts?
I picture a bus, and his foot is on the pedal, and he is snow plowed right over her, pun intended. And look, that's the right defense for him. That is the right defense for him. This is a weird case, Ted. This is a weird case because, look, at the end of the day, our paternal instincts are, why wouldn't you do something, right? Why wouldn't you do something if your child just went missing for a period of time? Does that mean that they have enough dots to connect to get to the finish line that is a conviction? I don't know. But I will say that bus has definitely left some tread marks on his co-defendant.
Jack, the prosecutors obviously believe that these two know exactly what happened. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here with this lesser charge of just not reporting. And this one is 18 months is the max. They're doing this to buy time, correct? I mean, they think there's more afoot here.
Oh, no question about it. And Franz is absolutely correct. I mean, let's think about this for a second. It's not just what a witness says in the box. It's about how they behave. It's about how you would expect them to behave. And if you look at this man, if you look at what he looks like, how he appears, his lack of emotion, how just sort of flat he is, all of those things, those don't necessarily show guilt, but they feel like it. And the thing is juries have to read the tea leaves, and some of this is science, some of this isn't. Some of this is all visceral gut. And when you look at this man and you look at his behavior, it just doesn't fit. That's going to be something that grabs a jury, and they will hold on to it.
Madalina is still missing, Josh. If you see this guy talking about now, he's kind of attacking the wife. Do you get him under some bright lights, try to lighten up those raccoon eyes of his, and say, "Dude, where's the body? And why don't you throw her all the way under and tell us what happened?" Because he seems to be going that way.
Well, and that's exactly what investigators are trained to do, is to take those golden nuggets of blame and waffling and misdirection when you're interviewing someone, chase them down, logically test them. Reality testing is what we call it a lot of times, where when someone's being interviewed, you take their logic to the full end and show them in their own words how what they're telling you just can't work. And the state's prepared for the empty chair defense, the bus driver defense, the octopus headlock defense, whatever you want to call it. They're ready for this because it was so telegraphed at the front end. And like you said, Ted, this is all about squeezing for information and buying time.
Here is the defendant on the stand talking about caring for his missing stepdaughter.
A lot of my attention was on Madalina. Her mother seemed to be doing her prayers a lot, and Madalina would always ask me to play with her on the nurture, you know. So take her for bike rides, walk to the neighborhood, take her to park. And Donna was usually the one that had me take her to the park or play all kinds of games with her.
Franz, you watch that, you just want to grab the dude and say, all right, well, then where is she? What happened? Because we know you were there.
So maybe I'm dead inside. Maybe. I come to the same place, which is, if you're going to sit on the stand and cry crocodile tears at this point, what were you doing then? And then tell us what happened. I mean, it's like there's that gorilla in the room where we all believe that he knows, and he's just not going that extra distance of telling us what happened, which makes him look horrible. He really may have nothing to do with this, but it looks horrible. And candidly, his emotional state on the stand now just seems totally disingenuous.
Yeah, Jack, I mean, come up with a story. If you're going after the ex, like, all right, well, give us some more, or give the investigators more, because he's writing that strange line that satisfies nothing and not.
I don't think the guy really knew anything. I mean, I think he knew something was going on in his house. I think he was like, okay, this is a little weird, rituals and stuff. But I think that he was like, as long as his needs were being met, he had a wife in the house. I think he was kind of like looking the other way on some of the things.
Not his case either, right?
But in my mind, Madalina Cojocari, 1,000,000%. I know she knows. We all know she knows where her daughter is, or what happened to her, at least.
I mean, it's really frustrating.
I think about my time working for the CIA doing interrogations. And honestly, this was part of the training. And part of the training is you give people what they want and what they need in order for them to talk to you. You have to think about what it is that this man wants. What's driving him? Is the idea of saying, okay, it wasn't you, it was all her. You were completely in the clear, and therefore she was the one completely to blame. Fine, let's give him that. Let's give him the feeling of power that he wants. Let's give him the feeling of strength, of super invincibility. Whatever it is you need to do to put him in the space where he finally just bellies up. The problem is at least at this point, the police didn't figure that out. The interrogators didn't figure out what it is that makes him tick, that can drive him to actually do and say what it is that they need from him. And so sometimes when you're doing an interrogation like this, you have to think about it like that. It's not about what you want, it's about what they need. Give it to them so they can turn around and give you what you want. That's the difference.
Josh, today, direct continues, and then it's time for the hard part, the cross. What would you do if you were prosecuting? I know you really don't have that hat. You've got lots of hats and glasses, but let's say you had
Oh yeah, he usually
let's say
wearing
you
red
had one of
glasses.
those prosecutor hats. How would you attack a guy like this who seems a bit numb?
Well, you hang them out to dry, and you use their own words in the uncomfortable power of silence. Because one of the great powers you have in trial is the ability to.
This guy that's talking, I know this has nothing to do related to this case, but he has 2 pictures of the same baby, the same picture behind him. You can't see it right now, but it's the same picture at 2 different spots.
To direct
Looks like a lot of
everyone's
weird to me.
attention at a specific point, juncture, or location. And that includes very specifically the witness. And you can drop very short, very clear, virtually unanswerable questions on a witness like this, that their response, we've already seen his evasion. We've already seen how he just won't say what we all know he knows. And by doing that, you show that shadow of guilt that builds and builds and builds and just crashes over him and is going to bury him because he doesn't have enough there to justify the acquittal with.
Just imagine if this was, instead of Chris Paltmetter on the stand right now, imagine that this was Sebastian's stepfather, Chris Proudfoot. Do you know how many people would be at that courthouse right now? Do you know how many people would be in this chat right now? Like, it's crazy how there's 2 cases right now we've got going on. Like, if you can just think about it, this is amazing to me. You have one little girl that's missing, and you have one little boy that's missing. You have one little girl that nobody is looking for, and you have one little boy that the whole world is looking for. It's just very crazy, you know? Thank you. Thank you. I'll grab the email. But I just was thinking of that. I was like, man, I wish that we could get the same coverage for her as we
What
got
the
for
states
him.
bring.
All right, we'll see that play out later today. He'll be back on the stand, finishing up direct and then cross-examination. We'll see if he cracks or even shows some emotion as he continues on the stand.
Well, he's kind of showing emotion. I don't know what kind. I mean, what emotion, but he's showing something. Showing something, all right. My accent? Oh yeah, I'm the only one talking, Zens. Oh, that makes sense. I'm like, my accent? Well, yeah, me. So I'm from Ohio, but I'm originally from Philadelphia. So it's a weird accent that I have. It's like wants to be kind of Southern, but it's just not there. It's just not. It's still a little too rough. So this is part 3 of his testimony. We did like the first hour and a half yesterday, and so there's probably, I think, 8 parts to this or something. So we'll end up doing it in like 7 parts, I think, altogether. But yeah, just kick back, relax, and listen to what he's got to say. They're basically just questioning him on what happened to his stepdaughter. So for 3 weeks, when his stepdaughter went missing on the 23rd, it was just Diana and Madalina at the home. Diana and Chris both say that he left and went to Michigan that evening or that weekend, and he came back 3 days later. When he came back, that's when Diana asked him if he had seen Madalina. So she waited for 3 days until he came home, and then she asked him. He said, no, I don't know where Madalina is. Do you have Madalina? And she's like, no, do you have her? So for the next 3 weeks, they went back and forth just asking each other if they had her. That makes no sense to anybody. Nobody. So he didn't call the school. He didn't call the police. He didn't call anybody to let them know anything that was going on. He just resumed, it seems like, life with Diana in a way, until the school decided to reach out because of truancy. So he's been in jail for like the last year and a half almost, and he got out a couple months ago. Well, no, it's been since like last August or something. It's been a while. He's been out for a little while, and he got out with a bond, and Diana just now got out because she couldn't pay her bond.
Diana and Maddie. Well, I guess let me back that up just a little bit. How often do you communicate with Diana?
Communicate like family life.
Sure. I mean, like, do you text? Do you call?
Usually it's one-on-one. I think in the beginning years we were texting a lot, especially if I was at work. If I had something to say to her, or vice versa, she wanted me to pick something up, she would text. But in 2023 or 20, for sure in 2022, there were almost no texts, no phone calls. It would just either go to voicemail or there's no, didn't pick them up.
So, are you saying that you guys didn't communicate well in 2022?
Yeah.
Now, how often was Diana with Maddie?
Anytime Diana was home, Maddie was there.
And did Maddie typically go with Diana if she were to leave the house?
If Diana were to leave, yes.
Would you have supervision of Maddie without Diana's permission, so to speak?
Yeah, if Diana was gonna run to the store and Madalina didn't wanna go because she's gonna play her horse game online, she would leave Madalina there with me.
So that'd be pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what if Diana were to go somewhere? Would it be normal for her to leave Maddie with you for more than a short period of time?
No.
Did Diana and Maddie ever take trips together?
Yes.
Just the two of them?
Yes.
How often would you say they did that?
Every once in a while they go to the mountains when I was working, or pretty much when I was working.
So that wasn't unusual?
No.
And when Maddie and Diana slept at night, what rooms did they stay in?
The first, we got Madalina, a little princess bed, and had a trundle underneath it. I think at first, the Diana was sleeping in Maddie's room. I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but she would use the trundle bed and sleep on that. I think until Madalina got a little more independence.
So Diana slept in her own room?
Yes.
And you had your own bedroom, I take it?
Yes.
What about doors in the house? How did Diana or Maddie, what was the situation with doors? Were normally open, normally closed? How was that?
During sleeping hours are closed. Diana's door will be closed, Madalina's door will be closed. My door would also be closed because we had cats in the house and they can use my room.
How many cats did you have?
It varies over time. It could range from 10 to 15 cats at one time.
Now, if Maddie's door was closed, would you ever enter her room?
You know, not generally know that's her time to be sleeping, or she's playing on her own, or that was kind of like her time.
Was there any thoughts about that being a stepfather as opposed to her biological father?
As far as the door being closed?
Well, in terms of going to a room.
Oh, no, I mean, I wouldn't go in Madalina's room when it's closed, but if the door was open, I wouldn't.
Okay. So if her door was closed, it's like private.
Yeah,
Because Maddie was getting older,
right.
and what about family mealtime, specifically, you know, closer to the end of 2022? What was the eating arrangement? How were family meals typically handled?
Diana would prepare the meals, and whether it was soup or salad or whatever the meal was, Diana would go to her area. A lot of times Madalina would take her food up to her room. Rarely did Madalina sit at the dining room table and eat. She'd usually take it up to, sometimes she'd sit at her desk and eat right next to my desk, and I would eat at the desk. But we all had kind of our own areas where we go that have.
Okay. And getting more specifically closer towards November, October, November, what was the family meal situation like then?
It seemed to be getting, well, not everybody's on their own. It would be more like Diana's preparing a meal, and her and Diana and Madalina would both eat. It was my work day in the Plainsville, and I would just eat later and warm up whatever the food that she cooked. But sometimes I would have to make my own meal. She would prepare everything.
What time, when you're working, what time would you leave the house?
In the morning, I always plan on leaving around 6:30, and then I'd return 7:30, 6:45, just kind of the traffic.
Okay. And when you get home, what was your typical night routine there? Was it normal for you to see Maddie when you came home?
Yeah, Madalina, she would be playing around the house, but it's close to her bedtime, so she had to take a bath before the bed. Her time for taking a bath kind of varied. She had been getting up late for school, so Diana was trying to get her to take a bath earlier, but that didn't always happen.
So she would take a bath and she would take showers?
Very rarely, like when we were traveling hotels and stuff. She mainly took baths. She didn't love showers. She may have taken a shower.
And so it was normal for you to see Maddie and interact with Maddie, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you were at home, was it often for how often was it for Maddie and Diana to eat alone in the end of 2022?
When I was home or when I was working?
even when you're home.
If Diane's preparing the meal, she pretty much prepares it for the family, but we would just get our own plates and get our own food and go to our areas.
So you wouldn't sit together and
Very rarely, like if it's maybe if it's a holiday like Christmas, we sit at the table, or a birthday, we sit at the table, but generally, we don't just prepare our own areas.
Well, that seems pretty. I mean, most families, a lot of families don't sit at the table together, you know, but
what do you normally do on the weekends?
I've got 2 projects. I have a small laser engraving business, and I have some clients that I'm who are whatnot. So I'll be playing on the laser and just creating things. Or if there's a woodworking project, a lot of times Diane would be buy a piece of furniture. She'd come home and I had to refinish it. So a lot of projects that we'll work on in the garage.
And so you would do those in the garage?
Yes, that's my workshop.
Okay. And coming back to Maddie, how often was she in her room?
In what time frame?
Well, let's just say towards the end of 2022. I mean,
Yeah, she was.
How often was she in her room, and what was she doing?
She was in her room a lot. She had reading assignments. She would read her books. A lot of times she had to read books before she could release was supposed to play. And then she had her own computer. She would play her online Star Stable course, interactive course game.
I'll actually show you some pictures.
She loved to.
Thank you, Loves to Lurk. Oh yeah, she sent. Oh my gosh, there's so many good pictures. Like I was like, wow, I haven't seen any of these. I can actually pull up the one that they were just talking about. So this one is going to be, I think it's these two, or Madalina's room. Her bedroom was cute. She had, I think I had the same day bed actually. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say I did. Let me look at it again because she has a day bed. I'm pretty sure, y'all, I had that day bed when I was a kid. Like something very similar to it. I had like 3 different day beds when I was a kid. But yeah, that's her bedroom there. And then that, like he was just explaining where she likes to play, over by like where the horsey is, and then I think over by where the boxes are, or like the little cubicle. And then he was saying something about that horse when we were listening to him. So, and actually, I'll just go ahead and let me show you these pictures I pulled up. I don't really have them in any particular order, but so this is Diana. I guess is this at the like the just at the pool around the neighborhood, like their neighborhood kind of pool? I don't know what HOA pool is. Is it like homeowners association pool? Because I know what the HOA means, but so I don't know if that's what it is. You have to let me know. Oh, a daybed. So a daybed is like it's kind of like a couch. It's like, where I don't know, it's like a forward facing, it's kind of like half of a bed. I don't know how to explain it. But I loved my daybed when I was a kid. I had like 3 of them or something. I had a water bed too. I had the coolest beds when I was a kid. So this is her. You can't really lay. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah, you can a little bit. But she's just chilling with her blanket. This is inside of their home. So inside of Chris and Diana's residence. And we've seen pictures of the outside of it before, but I've never seen pictures of the inside. I don't think I've ever seen those. And then this is her just getting some sun because she is out on the outside. We saw her leaving in her 90s glory. She looked like we should have been looking at her in the 90s. So privileged. I'll have to let my parents know that someday. Yeah, and I was gonna give you that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna give you guys a quick summary too. So basically, Madalina Cojocari is a little girl that's missing from Cornelius, North Carolina. Her mom, Diana Cojocari, came over here on a visa to marry Chris Paul Medler, the one that we're watching in court right now. The night that Madalina went missing, supposedly, 'cause we saw her last on camera on November 21st. So that's my last seeing of her. But supposedly she was still around on the 23rd, and her mom said she went to go wake her up for Thanksgiving or whatever. The next day was Thanksgiving, and she went to wake her up, and Madalina wasn't in her room. Her and Chris had argued the night before. Chris had went to Michigan to grab some things at home or back from there. That's where he's from. And Madalina's missing. So instead of calling Chris and saying, "Hey, Chris, is Madalina with you? I can't find her." She waits 3 days until Chris comes home, then asks him. And then when he proceeds to say, "No, she's not with me. Is she with you?" She says, "Well, no." And that's like the end of it. So basically, Chris is just saying they went back and forth for 3 weeks after this, after he got home, just telling each other, "Have you seen her? No. Have you seen her? No." Just playing dumb with each other. And that's when the school stepped in and was like, "Okay, Madalina hasn't been to school in 3 weeks." And they got the police involved. And that's when Diana was like, "Okay, yeah, my daughter is missing." So she wasn't even going to say her daughter was missing. They ended up arresting her. I believe it was December 17th. Her and Chris, they arrested them on failure to report a child missing. And her mom got out a couple of days ago. She pled guilty. And her stepfather pled not guilty, but he got charged with it. And the maximum sentence for them to, like, I guess, to hold is like 17 months. And she already had been over that in prison or in jail. So I don't know what the next step is. I'm with you guys on this. I'm like, what do we do now? Because they were going to send her back over to Moldova. If she goes back to Moldova and she gets there, they don't have an extradition treaty with us. So they won't send her back. That's like the biggest thing here is, one, we can't find Madalina, and two, Diana can't get on a plane. Those are the two things that I'm concerned about. So this is at the house, isn't it? I don't know the address off the top of my head, but that looks like the front door. Because I'm wondering if she's going to be back over there when Chris gets out. Like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? Like, because Chris is home. He's been out. She gets out. Does she go there? Like, what happens? I want to know all of it. Like, I need somebody in the front yard taping. Like, we need a JLR. Like, I really want to know. I want to know if she went home, what conversation was there. I can't even imagine. Do those stairs look abnormally tall? To me, they do for some reason. They look really like high up. But this is their inside of their home. And thank you so much for sending me these. Like, it pretty much looks like what I thought it would kind of look like on the inside a little bit. And then that way you guys have a little bit more of a understanding of what's going on. That is a long staircase. I don't care what anyone says. And then I showed you guys this one, but this is Madalina's room with all the pretty lights. The lights are still on. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, they're just. So what's this like is this like his room? Did they sleep in the same room? I don't even know. I don't know yet. So I don't know. Because I'm listening to this with you guys. So I haven't been sponsored yet. I've had people contact me, but I think it's a lot of like, I think you get a lot of spam mail before people actually, before you get like real people that wanted to sponsor you. But I'll go ahead and go back over here and then I'll pull up some more pictures in just a moment. Oh, I have another picture of Madeline's room. I guess a couple.
If it's a birthday coming up, I would get her to make Diana a birthday card. She draw a birthday card.
And what was Maddie's bedtime? When did she normally go to bed?
We were trying to get her to get up earlier so she could get up for school and be alert and have her lunch packed. I think it was around 9 o'clock, she had to be in bed. Sometimes it was much later. And she had a computer in the room that was much later, and then she get in trouble for that.
Understood. Now, where would Diana typically park her car at?
For a while, it was in the driveway until I cleared the space in the garage workshop, which kind of limited what I was able to do in the garage. But it was, if you're facing the house, she parked on the right hand side. But she could, once I cleared a spot in the garage, then she could drive her car in the garage.
And in your normal day-to-day, when you would leave the house to go to work, would you typically see them in the morning? No.
If I'm getting up early for work, they're still sleeping. Sometimes they would just giving up as I'm going out the door. Mostly, it would be sleeping.
Okay. Now, who enrolled Maddie at school?
Done.
And other than in court and prior to December 15th, 2022, did you ever see the documents that Ms. Lampkin had presented in court, the school documents?
No.
So you didn't sign those documents or fill out those documents?
No.
And in 2022, did you notice Maddie having a number of sick days?
Yes.
And do you know what that was about? What do you think? What do you think it was about?
I didn't know if it was things that Madalina was eating, but she seemed to have colds a lot during that time. And Diana would tell me that she's up in her room sick, or she's sick. There's always be floor days on the island, which doctors she went to recommended.
So when she was sick on those prior occasions, the prior occasions that she missed school, did you get messages from the school about missing school days back then?
I only saw some text messages. I didn't really see the emails until much later, because of the communication of the general dynamics. Text seemed to come through.
And I'm talking about before November, before November, December. Okay. Did you get any notices from the school about her missing those other days?
No, I don't think so.
If you did get notices from the school, what would you do?
Most Most times I would just talk with Diana about it when I got home. A lot of times the notices are coming later in the day. Or even if it happened during the day, I would just talk with Diana about it when I got home.
Have you ever responded to any of those messages at the school?
I don't believe so.
Now, did you ever have any discussions with Diana about homeschooling Madalina?
Yes.
Tell me about those discussions.
There was a period of time when Diana was critiquing Madalina's reading material. And there was, Madalina had some proofs or pictures. There was a, Madeline's proof in the center of it. It said, there was a little image of stop child trafficking.
What?
Let me just explain that.
Well, sure. I mean, tell us about it.
Diana had an issue with the proofs. She thought that Madalina was being watched and they were trying to, let's say whoever is following, is trying to child traffic Madalina by also that symbol icon beyond the proofs. And I told her that every parent has the same proof, the same icon on the center of the page. But she thought they were singularly out Madalina. There were there was a book, reading material, called Percy Jackson. Diana would read passages of Madalina's reading material as inappropriate. I thought it was inappropriate too. We were talking about at least what she read being sounded violent. And I thought that was inappropriate for a young girl to be reading. Especially since that's the opposite of what we were trying to teach her.
But
So,
how would you say Diana reacted to that material?
she was really offended. She told me she wanted to go to school to tell them that she's not reading that material. I don't know if she ever did that or not, but she had a big problem with that.
Did you talk to anyone in your family about that?
I don't recall. I know my sister-in-law Katie is a principal. I talked with her about the book Percy Jackson. I don't remember if I talked with her about this.
What did Diana think about, or did Diana ever talk to you about Maddie just going to public school in general? Did she have an opinion about going to public school? Was she worried about what they were teaching?
Oh, yeah, she felt that the public school system was indoctrinating children. And that's where the Percy Jackson book kind of fell into that conversation.
And so she had expressed a desire that, or an opinion that she didn't like Madalina going to Bailey Middle School?
Yes.
When did she say that?
I think it really started when she went from Cornelius Elementary to Bailey Middle School. That's when it really started. And that's where the proofs that I spoke earlier came from Bailey Middle School, or Bailey, whatever Bailey is.
let's talk about, in the spring of 2022. What happened in the spring of 2022?
Diana approached me and told me that we were gonna have a serious conversation outside, and I needed to have my phone inside the house, nowhere near me. And she told me that, she believed Russian entities were following her to get to her, and essentially Madalina. She believed that she held titles of either land or importance in that area, and these Russian entities wanted.
Is he's okay? So she's saying that she is like this wanted person in Russia. We're gonna go back a little bit because I want to hear this again. He's saying some stuff here.
Believed Russian entities.
I'm gonna go back a little bit further. There we go. Okay, so serious conversation.
Outside, and I needed to have my phone inside the house, nowhere near me. And she told me that she believed Russian entities were following her to get to her, and essentially Madalina. She believed that she held titles of either land or importance in that area, and these Russian entities wanted access to that. I can explain who those Russian entities are.
Well, with regards to what was she afraid of?
She was afraid that they were gonna take her and Madalina because of her titles.
And what did she want you to do about it?
She was asking me how we could hide her and Madalina from these people. And I told her I don't know how to do that because she wanted me to do it without telling anybody, without researching it, without almost like just knowing how to do it. I tried to explain to her that I've never done that before, I don't know how to do it without telling somebody. And she just expected me to be able to do it. So essentially we came up with, I said, what about family? Can we, you and Madalina with family that's disconnected from our family name? Like relative family? And she said yes.
Well, who wanted to have you, like, I guess clarify that for me. So who wanted who to be hidden away? Let me put it that way.
Diana wanted me to hide Diana and Madalina somewhere, just connected from our family name.
Okay. And what efforts did you make to make that happen?
We came up with my brother Paul, and so I couldn't call Paul, couldn't text him, couldn't email him, so I could only see him in person.
Well, why couldn't you do that?
Because you could be easily tracked by these people through electronic communication or
Well, who told you that?
Diane.
And so she was worried about that?
Yes.
And who did she say were these entities that were supposed to be coming after her?
One's deceased, Michael Jackson, and the other is Vladimir Putin, the current
What?
president of Russia.
Vladimir Putin. Okay, so the president of Russia is after her, and Michael Jackson. Yes, Michael Jackson is deceased. Did anyone tell Diana Cojocari that? Apparently, she is being stalked and harassed by a dead pop singer, the king of pop. Oh my lordy. Okay, let's take it back a minute.
One is deceased, Michael Jackson, and the other is Vladimir Putin, the current president of Russia.
Now, did that make any sense?
To me,
When these things aren't making sense to you, Chris, are you like saying, hey, what's going on upstairs? Do we need to go take you to a doctor? You're doing rituals with knives around my head and around your daughter's head. You're praying, you're chanting, you're doing all the things. I can't sleep. But no, he just says, don't make much sense to me, but I just kept going on with my life.
But can you describe how Diana felt about that?
yeah, she felt that Vladimir Putin wanted to marry Diana to get at her titles. So he could have access to her titles, which would give him access to land or some kind of entitlement.
And so she was seriously afraid of that.
Yes.
How often would you discuss this fear?
Every couple of months until I did something. Sometimes it would just kind of die down, and I would have a little sigh of relief that it didn't have to do anything that drastic.
What would you have to do?
But then every so often the conversation would come up. I don't know if it was every couple of months, but it would periodically through the spring and summer, the topic would come up. And I would have to deal with it.
Did you ever talk to your brother Paul about this?
Yes, I did.
So it would happen more in the spring and summer, like seasonal depression, but like the opposite of what I would have.
And what did you do? Did you ever go to Michigan?
Yes, I took a trip to Michigan.
And who did you talk to up there?
I stayed with my mom, but then I made a trip to see Paul and his wife, Kate.
And what were you able to make any arrangements up there?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the arrangement going to be?
Did you say what was the arrangement?
What was the arrangement going to be?
Yeah, so Paul's wife's sister lives with Katie's mother. So they were disconnected far enough to not being able to contract. And I asked Paul outside with other homes, explained the situation that Diana wanted to, she was in fear of these Russian entities. I say Russian entities, you know, both Russian, but that's what she called them. And Katie's sister-in-law, mother, or sister and mother-in-law, Katie's mother and her daughter agreed. And Paul said that I had a conversation with Paul. He says, you realize I'm going to have to tell Katie.
So he pretty much is telling his cousin Paul and his wife, and they're her family, hey, these Russian entities, meaning Michael Jackson and Putin, Vladimir Putin, are coming after Diana and Madalina because they are princesses of all of the land in Russia or something like that. And he needs to hide them out. Sir, maybe you guys both should have went to the doctor.
And I said, all right. And then they agreed. So I felt that I had done my duty as far as arranging for Diana and Madalina to stay with. And she always felt that this would last until like year did she?
2026. So even if, okay, so let's say that he was going to go along with her crazy plan, hiding Madalina out until 2026. Her and Madeline, I guess, because it has to be her too, because she's part of the people, the Russian entities are coming after her and Madalina. So if you think about it, this was back in 2022. She is telling Chris, we only have to hide her out till 2026. What? And he's like, okay, so I'm just going to ask my cousin. And then my cousin will be like, yeah, that's cool, man. I'll hide her out. Is this like we're playing imaginary land?
She was saying that he clear out.
Okay.
That's crazy.
So how long were they gonna hide away in Michigan?
I don't know, at that time, she was just saying until 2026, but she didn't really get into, what happens in 2026. Why it, clears up.
And did Diana ever take a trip to Michigan?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And when she went to, well, let me ask you this. When she came back from Michigan, what happened?
I asked her how it went, and she said not good. She said that Katie recorded her, and I said, did you take your phone outside and leave your phone in the house and have a conversation outside? And she said, no, we were having brunch and Katie put her phone on the table. And so I don't know if Diana saw her hit the record button, but that's what she told me, is that Katie recorded her conversation, which is basically a leak, that's like leaking the information.
Is that how Diana perceived it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when that happened, how did that affect the plan for her and Maddie to go to Michigan?
It was all messed up. I hadn't done enough.
Okay.
And I told her that I had an arrangement with my brother Paul and his wife and their in-laws for them to stay, but she felt that wasn't good enough.
Now, you mentioned that she told you that she was afraid of like Michael Jackson and Vladimir Putin or whatever. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, because Michael Jackson died in the early 90s, I think.
No, it's like 2008 or something. Hold on a see. He didn't die in the
Did
90s.
she ever tell you about any persons or concerns back in Moldova at a prior time? Did she ever tell you about anything in Moldova? Any people there?
Concerns.
I was 1 year off.
Yes.
It was 2009 he died, putting him back in the 90s. We had the king of pop longer than that.
When we first met, then I went home and we were just kind of communicating through emails. And then there was a period of time when she wasn't responding back. And that's the time frame that Madalina got pregnant. And then later on, she told me that the guy that got her pregnant, she didn't want anything to do with him. He was connected with the police. And he was always keeping tabs on her, always knew where she was, always following her. He actually wanted access to Madalina, being that he wanted to adopt Madalina, or he wanted Madalina to be part of his family.
So even back in as early as 2017, she was, when you first met her, well, not when you first met her, you first met her went back online, was 2008 or so?
I think it was 2008, yeah.
Okay, so even as far back as 2008, she had told you about somebody being out, she felt someone was out to get her somehow?
No, not back then. When we first met, it was just normal dating. We went to restaurants and parks and stuff like that. It wasn't.
He said normal, like she wasn't telling me crazy stuff. In the beginning, we were doing normal things like going out to dinner and stuff. None of this real, ritual stuff. None of that.
Third visit, when she told me she had a vision of a guy from America.
And now,
I have a vision of a guy in America. Oh, look, here you are.
what's the time difference between those visits?
I think the first visit was May 2008. And I believe I may have went there again in the fall. I don't quite recall. But things were progressing nicely, I thought. And between the second and third visit, it was a couple of years because I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but
No, you're fine.
I had to arrange with some attorneys about K1 visa. Because we had decided together that she would come here to America. And I hired an attorney to work on a K1 visa, which ended up being at least a 2-year process.
Okay, so we understand that she had some concerns from an early time frame. I want to come back to this issue of this trip or this plan to hide away to Michigan. Did you ever give Diana money to make that plan happen?
Yes, so when she made her trip up there, she didn't feel like she wanted to take advantage of family, so she asked if we could give them some money for food and rent and things of that nature. So I had some reserves at home. So I gave her, I didn't know how much it would be, so I gave her $15,000 to take up it. And that would be the money that she would use for that.
Okay. And so when that plan didn't materialize, what happened with that money?
She brought the money back. She must have had it in an envelope. And I just put it back in the home safe. But it wasn't until later I realized that all the money was not there.
Did you ever think that it was possible that she wasn't being forthcoming with you about what the real reason why she was afraid?
Yes.
And
Afraid because of the people following her?
right.
Okay.
Did you think that maybe she was telling you something other than what might be the actual case?
Yeah, but I didn't know how to dispute that.
Mm-hmm. How to dispute her feeling or?
Yeah, her feeling.
Okay.
I didn't know how to dispute Michael Jackson or Vladimir Putin. I mean,
Well, it doesn't make any sense.
right, it's so out there.
Okay. And so after this plan in early summer kind of collapses, and you said Diana blamed you for that not happening.
Yeah, because I was supposed to be setting it all up. It was my duty to find a place where they could stay undetected, and they could, maintain their, just living up there in Michigan with family.
And in that same year, or later that year, what was the big event that, if there was a big event, what, if anything, escalated Diana in 2022?
There was a silver contract that then you can see all this as he does on the show. He's a silver guy. You always talk about investing in silver. I had an IRA that was doing nothing, going from employer. So I had some money setting by that I could make an investment and all for the future. And that seemed to be the silver beard seemed to be the catalyst for an argument that exploded one night.
Because you had made an investment in silver?
Yes, and because I had named her as the beneficiary.
Mr. Clerk, would you please have that on the prime screen? All right, Mr. Palmer. I am showing you what has been marked as Defense Exhibit A. And can you tell me, do you recognize what this document is?
Yeah, it looks like a communication between Scott, who works for Dr. Kirk Elliott.
Well, without reading it, do you recognize what it is?
Yeah.
And does that fairly and accurately represent a text conversation that you had?
Yes.
John, I believe some of the jurors have questions for the court or raising their hand.
Sure.
Are we supposed to see it?
Oh, sorry. Not yet, sorry.
You will potentially, but this is rather than handing up a document for them to look at. We can also do this by just displaying those screens once somebody's authenticating the offline bid and you make. Good question.
Okay. So that's the tech conversation you had with the people with the trust contract that you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. The pursuant to stipulation, Your Honor, we move to a
Is this a different stipulation, or is the stipulation previously entered into as it relates to Stacy's recovery?
This is covered by State's Exhibit 50, the cell phone stipulation, as far as the authenticity, and I have no
It's
objection.
a subset of Stacy's Exhibit 50, which
Yes.
is labeled separately for your own.
That's correct.
The parties agreed to the previous stipulation as to the authenticity of the firm's report and document, which is how discussed yesterday. Remains the same, correct?
That's correct, John.
Thank you.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you offering it at this point?
Yes, sir, if we could.
All right, okay, no objection, so admitted.
Thank you.
You want to now publish?
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, Chris.
Everybody got it?
You see? Okay. All right, Chris. So tell us about who this silver contract was with. What company was this with?
Dr. Kirk Elliott is the silver advisor.
Okay. And this is a text conversation you had with that company?
Yes.
Okay. And on August 17th, 2022, can you tell us what you were doing here? What does this text say?
You want me to read it?
Sure, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Also, is there a way we can see the entire document with my wife's name removed? We want to just look it over. I only received the 2 pages document with her name removed. Thanks again, Scott.
Try to make it so everybody can see. Okay, so what was the concern with with the, having her name removed, why would you contact them to do that?
Donna had an issue with the document, it's called a custodial agreement. She had a problem with her being named as the beneficiary.
And so this is you contacting them in order to have her name removed?
Yes. From the document.
Okay. And what did you think about that, having to, well, what did you think about her concern, having her name on the contract? What did you think about that?
I didn't really understand it. She was saying because of language in the document and in the title of the agreement that says custodial agreement, that custodial means that they are controlling her. That's what she had a problem with. I was setting this up for our future, naming her as the beneficiary to, if something ever happened to me, that they were taken care of.
Now, when you contact them, they replied that they got your email and they wanted you to be aware that if you liquidate your silver now, that you'd be liquidating and have a loss. Can you explain to us what they're talking about with the loss?
Yes, they follow the value of silver, and some days it's up, some days it's down. I bought it when it was, I guess up, and when I wanted to liquidate it by removing our names and getting out of the company, the value of silver was, and the value that I purchased that would be a loss.
And was your original investment around $66,000?
Yes,
And this message from them says that if you sold your silver today, you would get around $61,488. How much money did it end up costing you to cancel this contract for silver?
I seem to remember it costing about $15,000. I don't know if there was added losses depending on what the value of it was at that time, but it was a lot.
And what did you want to sell the silver?
No, I want to stay in it. You gotta stay in those things for the long term, not just if you have an issue, once you get in, you just gotta kind of watch it and see it go up, and at some point down the road, you'd be better off than you were going in, or at least stay flat and not lose anything.
So how concerned was Diana with, and Mr. Cook, that's not for that picture. How concerned was Diana with this contract for silver?
Very concerned.
How often would you talk about it?
It came up a lot in conversation. It became the catalyst for our arguments. That was always the first thing mentioned. You put us into this silver agreement. This is all you're doing. Nature of the argument.
May I have the primary screen again, please? Mr. Palmer. this document?
Yes.
And Your Honor, move to pursuant to stipulation. Statement.
Objection.
Now.
So admitted. What number?
It's gonna be defense H and permission to publish. Sorry.
Publish.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So what is this, Mr. Palmer?
This is our letter to, I believe is to Dr. Cornelius, but in relation to the Strata Trust Company, where we were canceling the gentleman's name.
And this is an email that was sent to them?
Yes.
Okay. And who wrote this email?
Well, she told me we needed to write a letter, so I started writing it. She didn't like the wording, so she scanned it, stood over my shoulder, and gave me the wording for the first paragraph, because that's not how I write or talk. And I wrote the second line, beginning of the second paragraph, including the account number. And then she sat at the computer after that, and she wrote everything below that is her writing and her terminology.
Okay, and then so to cover that, she lays out, she lays out both of your names. My name is Christopher James Palmer, my wife's name Diana Cojocari, and the transaction. Liquidation process of any metal binds or goods is canceled and will not be used by your company or your representatives at Strata Trust. And she goes down and adds another section at the bottom. So you're saying at the top, she's standing over you and had you type this in.
Yes.
Okay. And then once you type the portion that you did there, so to be clear with the serial number, what happens then? How does that second portion get put in? You said she typed that in?
Yeah. I actually got up out of the chair and she sat down and wrote in the rest because she didn't like the way I was writing it.
Okay. And she said that there is no custodial or jurisdictional bearing on our persons, flesh, blood, souls, or spirits, or any part of our beings. With my name, Christopher James Palmer, and my wife's name, Diana Cojocari, or any other representatives in it. Please send us this letter in writing stating that there is no custodial or jurisdictional bearing on our persons, flesh, blood, souls, or spirits, or any of our part of our beings. With my name, Christopher James Palmer, and my wife's name, Diana Cojocari. So she wanted that language in there. She wrote it out like that.
Yes.
Wow.
That's enough for that, Mr. Clerk. Thank you. And so once you agreed to have them cancel this contract, what happened after that?
It had to go through a certain process of liquidation, but then they essentially sent us a check reduced from the original 66,000. I don't remember what the final check came out to be, but it was a lot less than what we invested.
Well, once you canceled the contract and you had her name removed and all this stuff, was that the end of it?
No, it was not the end of it. She saw in the documents that they sent, I don't know if it, after they were all done, she says, I don't know whether we asked for the original document, and she saw her name on it, still not removed. Because by law, they have to, when you enter that type of contract, it can't be altered in any way, so her name had to stay on that document. I don't know if it's forever or a certain period of years, and she's not happy about that.
And how often would this conversation about the silver contract come up?
That came up quite a bit. Like I said before, it was a catalyst for a lot of arguments, and sometimes those arguments would just be out of the blue. You sold my soul to the devil.
And how many times would it come up since leading up into November of 2022?
At least 4 that I can recall, there's probably more.
What did she think about?
Sorry, I just cut it off like that. I didn't know it was going to do that. But wow, the end of that was getting a little interesting, to say the least. There are like I think 8 parts to this or something like that. Something along those lines. Oh, wait. Okay. I said, where'd my chat go? But you're there. You're there. So didn't really like the end of that. They were losing me. So I'm gonna have to go back through and listen to that. But I know that Diana was saying that people were after her. Vladimir Putin is after her. Michael Jackson is after her. She seemed to think people were after her though before they were even together. She was letting on to that, like letting on to those things. Like she was saying, out of pocket things like that when they were just talking online. Then he went over and visited her. He went over and visited her a second time, went and got her. Like it's just all the signs were there that maybe stay away from her. And Chris would just kind of put them to the back of his mind and was like, I think this is a great relationship to get into. So basically, I think over the next, few lives, we'll be hearing a little bit more with Diana and what her key role is in all this. And then they will do cross-examination, which they'll go over, and the prosecution will cross-examine him, which I'm excited to see that part, because that's like, he's not getting fed the questions that he wants to be fed. He's going to have to answer the tough ones. And I'm watching them with you guys. So I'm going to wait and watch all the court proceedings with you guys, since we've been covering the case since it pretty much happened. I'm surprised we didn't fall down into this rabbit hole before. We kind of have with our case though. And I do have a timeline on our next live. I'll go over it. It's like a 27-page spreadsheet that I made for her case. And thank you so much for being in the chat. And thank you, Loves to Lurk, for all the help today. Oh my gosh, you have so much good information. I went to your Facebook page and I joined. Where's that at? Let me put it over here. Open link. And I'm gonna send it to you guys. Let's see. Is it gonna put all of that in there? Let me see if I can make it. There we go. I make it shorter. If you guys want to go over and join the Madalina Cojocari Facebook page, you'll be able to get a lot more information on the case. And I'm going to go over there myself and be looking around. You'll be able to get more information on the case. And then if you want to, you guys can always check my playlist out. I do have a playlist for Madalina Cojocari as well. And we're going to be doing these day lives until we get, all of her story out. I mean, and, it's not out because it's not over. It's, it's not going to ever be out until we get her back. This is the case that we'll see it through. We'll see it through for sure. I wanted to find out where this little girl is and where she's been. And she could be in Moldova. I mean, definitely could be over there. And if she is, I hope that we get some answers for us and for her, the other family members that are looking, maybe do want to look for her. But it's sad because she doesn't have anybody here. She's like nobody. Oh, pizza in the oven. That sounds good, Jan. I'm hungry. What could we eat today? Oh yeah, since I don't do Facebook really either. I only do Facebook for YouTube. So I can understand that. Every time I get on Facebook, someone's unalived, like someone's dead. I can say dead at this point in the live, I think. But it's not because they got killed or anything. It's just because of life. But every time I get on there, I swear someone's not with us anymore. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going on Facebook anymore. I was like, every time I go over there, it's depressing. So we stay over here on YouTube where it's crazy fun. It's crazy exciting over here. It really is. It is exciting on YouTube compared to like other social media sites. I have an Instagram, a TikTok, Facebook, all under TitaniumBuilt. If you guys want to follow me on social platforms, I do post, but I don't really get on there to hang out. I'm not a hanger on those social platforms. I don't want to say anything about profits or stuff. I don't even go into Facebook groups. Yeah, no, I was in them earlier today, and they're running rampant. Everyone's got a cease and desist. I didn't. You ever find it funny how things happen in true crime and they happen to everybody, but they never happen to me? Y'all just keep your eye on that, okay? Because I'm telling you, something's fishy. Something fishy's going on. You don't like that about Facebook either? Yeah, I don't either. Man, it's so depressing when I get on there. It's just like, no. It just always seems sad. But I do get on there every once in a while. I'll click on and I'm like, what am I doing? I'll be scrolling and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? But I always have just so much stuff going on YouTube that I'm usually over here. And I like YouTube. So tonight we're going to cover Noah Pressgrove's case. That's a rabbit hole. Buckle up and get ready because it's going to be a good live tonight. And Nancy's back. So she will be behind me. I got to make sure I move her. Since it's probably like, what are you talking about? We have a Nancy Grace cardboard cutout here. We love Nancy. She's a little feisty. She's a little sassy, but she gets to the truth. So I have a Nancy cardboard cutout. I usually have my camera on. So that's why everyone's probably like, what is she talking about? But me and Nancy will be back tonight. We'll be back at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to go over Noah's case. I just started looking at it today. I heard about what I heard about happened, but I didn't really dig deep or anything because I was like, we were doing other cases. And then I started reading some stuff today about his case. And I'm like, what? It's another really crazy one. I can give you fine examples of Nancy not telling the truth right now. You either love her or you hate her. You have a YouTube friend from Russia? Really? It probably is scary over there. Oh, but to end it on a good note, let me see if I can find it really quick. Let me see if it, okay. Here we go. Let's see if I can find a picture of them. I was going to talk about this on a video, but I didn't because, I was just like, we don't cover politics, and stuff like that on the channel. We don't really do politics and all that stuff. But I wanted to show you guys this because this was just made me like cry. So do you guys, I'm trying to find her picture. Okay, right here. So this will help. Does everyone remembers the attacks on October 7th? Okay, so does everyone remember? Oh, I want to start their free trial. Okay, let me go back. Does everybody remember this girl here? She was the one that was taken on the back of the motorcycle. Like, I'm just like, I put in Hamas just so I could like get the thing to pull up. But I don't want to have to pay for the freaking like article. I've already done that with like so many. So I wanted to get a picture of her though. I'm about to put my email in this, but I don't want to. I don't want to do that, guys. But all this 2 hours ago, live updates. looks like another one, maybe another update. But they ended up rescuing the girl that was on the back of the motorcycle, and they ended up rescuing 3 gentlemen. And they did that today or last night. I'm sorry, last night. And I was trying to see if we could find some stuff on a picture on it, but I don't think they have any pictures through here. Of course I don't. Trying to see if maybe we could find. Like I just went on this one to see if I could read it. But it says they carried out the largest hostage rescue operation since the latest war with Hamas began, taking 4 to safety out of central Gaza amid the military's heavy air and ground assault. So the girl that was on the back of the motorcycle, she had like dark brown hair, and they were there was like one in the front of her and one behind her, and they were like, they had her on the back of the bike. She got out and she reunited with her father. Oh my gosh, just go ahead and just look it up. You're going to cry when you see it. It was oh man, I wish I could find that. Let me see if I could pull it up on the page. If I put it like, oh, here's this picture maybe. Okay, stop doing this. Okay, I'll accept all cookies, but I'm not accepting nothing else. I don't know if there's a picture of her now, but I don't know if there's a picture. This is her now, but I don't know if they'll show a picture of her before. It was everywhere too. That video of her. Could you imagine? Look how good she looks. I mean, seriously, look how good she looks. October 7th. Is a scam. Yeah, I'm like, stop making me accept everything. I wanted to find a picture of her though from before they rescued her. I could probably find her name, and then that would probably help. But yeah, I couldn't believe that they found that girl. I really couldn't believe that they found any. The other guy that was there, there's 3 gentlemen, but one other guy was in a campaign too for the war. So people saw his image a lot. But I'll have to find it, put on the community tab. But I mean, it's amazing that they found these people. They were able to rescue 4 more. I don't know how many people are still actively in captivity still. I would say I thought it was less than 100, but I don't know, because I thought they just took just over 100, but I don't know either. So don't get your war on crime or your war info from me. But I saw that and it was heartwarming today, and I couldn't believe they found her. And it's amazing what people can do. It really is. I mean, it's amazing that they were able to find 4 people in this country with this war going on. And they were able to get them out safely. So the girl, yeah, I wish I knew that girl's name. I wish they would have put her name in there. They probably did. I just didn't see it. Noah, or her name's Noa Origami. She's 25. You wouldn't see me just being cool, calm, collected, talking on the phone. I don't know what I would be doing. I don't even know what I'd be doing. But thank you guys all for being here today. We are going to cover, like I said, Noah Pressgrove's case tonight. There's nothing going on in Sebastian's case. I know that's still where people want to tune in, because I guess it's because it's so crazy. But the only thing that's going on right now in that case is everybody got a cease and desist when nobody really probably got a cease and desist. My personal opinion is I think one person got one, and the other 4 people that are saying they got one probably maybe didn't get one. But I'm looking into it. I'm looking into that because I'm like, these are all weird. You know that, Nina. We're just getting ready to get off here. But yeah, I'm going to get off of here for a little while. But I'll be back tonight at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll make the thumbnail here shortly, and I will be back on, because now that Jan's talking about pizza, she's probably eating it by now, but I'm hungry. I'm like, that made me hungry. So I'm going to get some food and all that good stuff. And then I'll be back on and I'll be on camera tonight for the Noah Pressgrove Live. So I will see you guys all tonight. If not tonight, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you guys all have a great day. If you guys are watching on a replay, hashtag replay in the comments below. And I appreciate you guys all being here. Hopefully, you know, by the end of this series, you know, because it's going to be like 4 more parts or something, we'll have a better understanding of maybe what happened to Madalina and maybe where Madalina could be. So thank you guys all for being here, and I will see you guys all tonight. Bye, guys.